Let me check. Okay. Uh, Let me make sure. Hold on one second. Okay. Can everyone see us? Let me see. Okay, I think we are live. I see it. Okay. Mm, Okay, one second. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure that we are recording. Okay, we are recording. So let's do it. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. Today's a special day. I have Pat here. He's from code.org. He's the Chief Academic Officer at code.org. And he's here to talk about whether or not software engineers, coders, whatever you call it these days, are going to be replaced or not. There's a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of truth telling. There's a lot of, you know, fear mongering out there. And Pat here will actually help us understand what is really going on in the tech market, what is really happening, whether or not software engineering is dead. Okay. Software engineering is dead or not. Like, he will help us understand what is going on. So, Pat, thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad to finally get you. I reached out to Pat like in March, and due to scheduling issues, we've only been able to get together now, but we're here now, and I would just like to thank you for your time. I know you have a busy schedule, and I just want to jump in and start talking about this thing. What do you think, Pat?
Let's jump in. Sorry, Belle. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Thank you.
first of all, Pat, can you please give us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and just introduce yourself, and
Yes.
then we can jump into questions.
So I'm based in the DC area, born and raised, and I, for the first part of my career, I spent 13 years teaching special education, science, and computer science, middle school and high school. Teacher out there, and you taught seventh grade in particular. Bless your heart, because seventh grade is probably the hardest grade, certainly of the middle school grades. Um, and for the last 12 years, I've been at code.org. Code.org is a nonprofit that promotes computer science and AI education. Our vision is that every student in every school should have the opportunity to learn computer science and AI. And we're doing that in a variety of ways, from government affairs work to creating curriculum to training teachers to awareness campaigns to hosting community events and creating community around computer science and AI initiatives. And right now, I am leading an external initiative called Teach AI. And Teach AI is not an organization, it's basically a collaboration between many, many, many organizations. It's steered by Code.org, ETS, ISTE, Khan Academy, and the World Economic Forum. But it boasts an advisory committee of over 100 organizations, including OpenAI, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. But also like the World Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, but also the State Education Technology Directors Association, or the Council of Chief State School Officers. It's a very diverse advisory committee, and we do many things. And what's most pertinent, and what we're going to talk about today, sorry, Bell, is we just released a framework in partnership with the European Commission and OECD just last week. And it answers the question, or tries to answer the question, what do kids need to know and do in an age of AI?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Pat, I want to jump in because we don't have that much time and I just want to get some answers from you. So the first question is, it's what's on everyone's mind, right? Everyone says AI is writing 30% of code now, right? And the figure varies from 30 to 50 to 60, I don't know, but at least 30% of code. But I guess my question is what percentage of actual software engineers are using AI daily? And how is that changing their day to day work versus their job security? So I know it makes your life easier, but then how much do you use it
Yeah, that's a great question.
so that, eventually it'll replace you?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Awesome. Go
I'm
ahead.
sure I'm sure, and this conversation will be about software engineering and programming and coding, but it's certainly relevant to other fields as well, and I'll try to make those connections. First, to answer your question, what percent of software engineers are using AI right now? Well, GitHub is one of the major providers of tools for software engineers, and they do an annual survey, and their last survey showed that 97% of their respondents, and this is an international survey, 97% said they've used AI at some point in their workflow. Now, whether they use it daily or they used it once and decided it's not for them, we don't know. Maybe there are some questions more about like daily use. But I guarantee you the majority of software engineers right now are using AI very often to write code. And it's no surprise that maybe, the Google CEO says that 25% of their code is being written by AI these days, because a lot of code really isn't creative. It's just like kind of almost like template code that just creates a foundation. And that's the kind of stuff that you want AI to do. Sometimes it's like code being translated from one language to another language. That's great, a great activity for AI. But even AI has its limits. AI still is not good at debugging, like fixing, especially hard to fix problems, which lots of software problems are. It's not good at understanding the bigger context within which it's placed, because it will do what you ask it to do, but it doesn't understand what it doesn't understand. And oftentimes when we're writing code for like a bigger system, a bigger purpose. It's not just the one little thing that AI can do. So it needs to be placed within a larger context, and AI can't do that very well right now. The last thing that AI will never be able to do well is understanding people and customers and users. And that's why we continue to need software engineers, software developers, and just kids understanding that technology is like creating a something is one thing, but creating something that's useful and worthwhile and works for a variety of people is a whole another thing, and AI doesn't do that right now at all.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so 97% of people do use it. So some of them are not telling the full story, right? Is that right?
Well, I mean, 97% of the people that GitHub surveyed said that they've used it at least once. Here's some more interesting stats for you, because, like you said, Story Bell, a lot of people could say whatever they want in blogs. They talk from their own experience. Some software engineers are writing blogs telling other would-be software engineers, "Hey, don't get into the field right now." Here's some statistics. So there's an agency in the government called the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they project like they make predictions around employment per different industry sectors, and they showed that they project the employment of software developers to increase 18% between 2023 and 2033. An increase, right? So where you think that Gen AI might be well suited for programming like a field like software development where that relies on a lot on programming, you might believe that it should go down. It's actually going up, and that Gen AI will actually make these software developers more productive. Now, now programmers, which is different than software developers. Programmers are a lower task, like almost like coding level kind of thing. Those folks are actually, yes, they're going down, or certainly junior level coding is going to go down, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics show that. But software development is like bigger picture, and that bigger picture still requires humans. And one last stat to share, sorry, Bell. The World Economic Forum, which is part of Teach AI, they did a future of jobs report in 2025, and they showed that at the top of the list of not just tech skills but all skills are AI and big data skills, and those are the type of technical skills that are leading the way. So if software developers or coders or programmers are having a hard time finding a job, they just need to pivot and change with the times and get into AI and big data.
Okay, okay. Sounds good. So now let's talk about vibe coding, right? So we keep hearing about vibe coding, and I did this with just, a prompt. So vibe coders are people who can prompt AI, right? But they don't understand the fundamentals. So are companies actually hiring these people, or is this just LinkedIn noise, or what's going on with vibe
I'll,
coding?
I'll there's no, it would be hilarious for someone to claim vibe coding as a skill on a resume. I mean, uh, what it shows is that you're innovative and you try new things that are outside of your typical skill set, right? Um, but no, no real company what would pick a vibe coder over a real like software developer or coder. So no, I don't hear any people getting jobs because they can vibe code. Now I hear people who have jobs um, in other fields using vibe coding to create things so that they don't have to rely on someone else, and that's cool. But I don't hear people like getting jobs because of vibe coding. And when it comes to like uh, uh, I mean, just what you can make with vibe coding. Yeah, you can prototype stuff. You can make really cool things that you weren't able to, but you still need to learn the fundamentals so that you can go not just beyond the vibe coded product, but also understand what's even going on, how to iterate on it. You need some basic sense of code to be able to prompt these AI, generative AI tools in a way that gets you what you want. Otherwise, you reach a ceiling very quickly.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, well, that brings me to my next question. What are the emerging roles that blend coding with other skills? Like, are you seeing new job titles that didn't exist 2, 3 years ago? And like, is it one in 1,000, or are they actual emerging roles that people should be looking into? And what do they pay more or less, if you have that info?
Wow, what do they pay? It depends on the sector, but you're asking like emerging roles that blend coding with other skills and new jobs being created. I mean, whether a new job title is being created or not, new jobs are always being created, and certainly in an age of AI. So people are blending skills in a different way, even if their title is not changing. Um, and I think with AI, we see an acceleration of that. Vibe coding is an example. You know, those people aren't going to claim that they can be called a software engineer or a coder because they can vibe code, but they're certainly learning new skills and doing things that they weren't able to do before. I think, again, I think that's great. But I also think um, that those folks reach a ceiling very quickly, and if they want to continue, they need to have some fundamentals. Do they need to learn everything that everyone else needed to learn 10 years ago? Probably not, but they still need to learn the fundamentals, and that's what we do at code.org. We help kids learn those fundamentals so that no matter what field they want to get into, they are going to be prepared to not only be effective in that field as it is right now, but also to innovate in that field and shape the future of that field.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about AI literacy. It's a term that's being thrown around by, organizations like the UN, the OECD, but also by your average LinkedIn user. So, and I know that code.org recently released an AI literacy framework. Can you break down for us what this actually means for workers today?
That's a
So,
great question. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's
I like what are the core components that
yeah,
everyone should understand?
yep,
Tell us
yeah.
more.
So if people are watching this, definitely go to ailiteracyframework.org and check out the framework themselves. I'll talk a little bit about it. And if you're not in education, this still matters to you because guess what? Adults need AI literacy as well. And you might want to take a look at the framework. You might learn something as an adult. The framework vision is that every student needs to develop some level of AI literacy. And that AI literacy will be integrated where relevant along the K-12 pathway that students walk. So there might be some competencies that are integrated in third grade math when kids are learning fractions, or in an eighth grade computer science class, or an 11th grade literature class. Depending on the class, depending on the teacher, they might pull different competencies at different points. But in the end, a kid will develop AI literacy at the end of their like academic journey. Uh, we the European Commission, OECD, and Co.org define AI literacy in 4 domains right now. Engaging AI is about understanding AI's influence on my decision making, on my perspectives, my viewpoints, understanding like where AI is in my world, on my phone, on my computer, when I'm searching Netflix, things like that, and understanding like the impact it has on my life, the impact it has on society as well, and the environment. Creating with AI is the second domain, and that's really a Gen AI forward type of domain where we're creating and we're able to explain what AI is doing when we're prompting it. It's giving it the right direction, having evaluation criteria for evaluating like whether something should be accepted or rejected, and really treating it as like a collaborative partner. It's not a human, but it's also not like a box where something goes in and only one thing comes out. You actually do more with it than that. And so that's creating with AI. Managing AI is for you workforce people out there very relevant because right now you're already kind of using AI within a team. That team might be you and AI and another person. It might be 3 people and 2 AI agents. Either way, this is the future that we're going to be engaging with very, very soon, if not now, where like there's a manager, which could be you, and you're not like for real a manager like your title, but you're going to be allocating some tasks to yourself, but then also figuring out what these different AI agents can do for you. It's almost like you're a team in and of yourself with AI. So that's managing AI. And one of the most important managing AI competencies is to know whether to even use AI based on the nature of a task. Like what what is the need for accuracy, for reliability? What is the need for precision? In certain cases, you might not want to use AI to solve your problem. And then lastly, designing AI is about getting kids hands on with AI, building AI models, even from a young age, so that they can understand where bias comes from and what they can do to actually shape AI's behavior so it has less bias, right? That's just an example, by the way. Bias is not like the ultimate issue when it comes to building AI, but it's certainly like an impact, a societal impact that people are thinking about right now. They understand that AI can be biased, but they don't understand how AI works and they don't understand what they can do about it. And that's what designing AI is about. So that's the framework in a nutshell. But people should definitely look at the the framework, and we're undergoing many months of review right now. And so, Soribel, anyone could fill out the survey form and let us know what they think about uh, about the learning expectations in the framework.
Awesome. And this is for kids, but that sounds to me like anyone could use it. I'm actually excited about understanding AI literacy in that framework.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I would love professionals to review, like professionals in other industries to review the framework. Sorry about,
Yeah,
because these kids are going to grow up to be professionals in those industries.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. I'll check it out for sure. And I'll also link it to my post so that people can go and check it out for themselves. So on AI literacy, I want to drill a little bit more about it. When you talk about AI literacy, what specific knowledge and skills do you think every knowledge worker needs to have in 2025?
Okay, so this is going back to the domains, right? I can get more specific now,
Yeah,
Sorabel. And I'm not going to go through the entire framework, but that's what the framework was set up, and it applies to adults because AI literacy is new.
yeah.
So whether you're an adult or you're a kid, it's all new to you anyway, and so it applies. It's like everyone's learning addition for the first time.
Okay, so
Um,
you would apply the same framework.
Correct. I would apply
Okay,
the same framework.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
uh, and so let me give you some examples. Okay, here's one. This is a good one. This is coming from the creating with AI domain, but everyone should be able to explain how AI systems perform tasks using precise language that avoids anthropomorphism. So
okay,
anthropomorphism is incorrectly attributing human traits to a thing that doesn't have those human traits. So like AI. So you could actually saying the word hallucination is an example of a anthropomorphism, because hallucination is a mental disorder, and you first have to have a mentality to have a mental disorder, and really the better word for hallucination might be like an error, a fabrication, or a confabulation. But when we start to think of AI as like a human-like thing, we use human-like words. Now, I'll tell you what, it's very hard to avoid. You might have heard me say collaborate, and or like treat AI as your partner. Um, we need to understand that these words, um, if you know really what AI is, you can use these words and you're okay, but you need to be careful using those words with people who don't know what AI really is and who would tend to think that AI is like some kind of like thinking thing, like the movies. But yeah, that's an example of what everyone should be able to do. I'll give you one more story, Bell, which is one I already talked about before. Everyone should know when to use AI and when not to use AI based on the thing that they're trying to solve. So not on
Hmm.
like how cool AI is. That's not how we base our decisions about how to use AI. But we base our decisions about using AI on understanding AI's capabilities and limitations and
Hmm.
understanding the nature of the task that we want to apply it to.
Okay, cool. So, in the interest of time, I want to talk about what a lot of people join here for. They want to know where the jobs are. And you have a lot of data and insights into the industry. And, everyone focuses on big tech, FANG companies, but which non-tech industries are desperately hiring people with software engineering, coding skills, programming skills right now? And, when I say desperately, like, of course, nobody's hiring desperately. It's a tough market. But what companies are actually hiring people with programming skills? Is it healthcare? Is it finance? Is it manufacturing? What can you share with us?
I mean, it's everyone, Sorbel. It's everyone. It's all those companies, finance, agriculture, whatever. Like, I mean, think about. I mean, our world is digitized. You know, we engage with apps and different things all the time, big and small. Who's creating these things, right? Um, that's why we need more and more creators out in the world. But we need responsible creators. We need ethical creators. Um, and we need creators of greater diversity as well, because we need to be creating for everyone and not just creating from our own narrow viewpoints.
So everyone is hiring right now. Everyone.
Oh, okay. Now, if you're saying like technically who's hiring and who's not,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about Microsoft. Microsoft's a pretty big company, right? Hundreds of thousands of people. Uh, they just went through like a big layoff thing where they laid off, I don't know, a
Six,
couple,
7,000 people.
yeah, something like that. A lot of people. I don't know what percentage of those people were software engineers or what they were or whatever, but I do know and I've heard that it's kind of hard out there getting a job right now because you have this situation where um, a lot of people have gotten computer science degrees over the last uh, couple years. And so we have like a lot of supply. And then we have these people who haven't retired yet who are still in the game.
Hmm.
And then we have our financial downturn as well. And so a lot of people getting um, laid off, but you know those people are obviously more qualified than people entering the job market, and
Hmm.
so people entering the job market are having a harder time getting a job simply because of our economic conditions. It's not, it, you know, people might say it's because of AI. No, it's not just because of AI. It's way bigger than you know whether someone uses AI or not to code. Um,
Hmm.
so I would recommend that anyone who makes that determination really look at like the larger economic factors happening right now.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so you maybe may or may not be able to answer this question, but for someone starting today, right, should they go the traditional computer science degree route, a boot camp, or just self self teach, like with all of this free resources out there? What are you seeing that's actually working in this year's hiring market?
I
Like,
mean, I would say like lots. It depends on your situation, you know, and what you have access to. It depends on what boot camp, not just boot camps in general.
mhm,
Um, you know, as someone who has an undergraduate degree in a STEM field compared to someone who doesn't have a degree at all, should make different decisions about their pathway into a tech field, right? So it really depends. What I would say for anyone, so that they are, I wouldn't say that so that they're future proof, but they're more ready for the future, is they should learn about AI, they should learn about data science, and um, they should take uh, some computer science courses. That's what I would that it's that mix. Now, usually that mix of AI, data science, and computer science exists within a computer science department or a computer science degree. So, but there are many pathways through a computer science degree. Kids coming out right now might not have learned about AI at all. Well, those folks aren't as employable as someone who got a computer science minor and learned a lot about AI and did some AI projects on the side. So um, that's my recommendation for people thinking about the job market right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me ask you something about future proofing, because that's what a lot of people are, you know, talking about and thinking about these days. Do you think we're moving to a world where every knowledge worker, every professional needs like basic coding skills, or will it become more specialized and concentrated among fewer and fewer people?
Hmm. Fewer and fewer people doing what? Sorry, Bill.
Like coding and having coding skills? Like, is it something that is becoming really, really specialized and just a few people need to do it? Or should everyone
No,
can acquire
I
this?
think yeah, just like the whole idea of vibe coding is that you now can create things that only a subset of people were able to create in the past. So remember there was a world a couple centuries ago when there only certain people were able to write books and publish books and share that knowledge. Um, and now everyone can not only write a book, but host a podcast and share it with the entire world. That's that's technology. That's what it does. It it spreads, scales, and democratizes opportunity. And so now folks like Sorabel can go on YouTube Live and connect with Pat through this thing, and we never even met each other in person, and we can have this conversation and share it with the whole world. In the same way, there's a kid right now in some place who might not have access to a computer science class, but is going to use AI to learn some coding and go beyond that and create a cool technology for their community or for the world. And they'll become a tech influencer, not just a social media influencer.
I love it. That's called the permissionless economy, and I absolutely love that concept. So, really excited about what the future holds. It's a little scary too, right? When anyone can do anything, it's a little scary, but it's also exciting. It all depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, and my job is to make sure that we can turn this AI thing in the right direction to serve kids as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay, well, so, I want to talk about the industry, the programming, coding, software engineering industry as a whole. What is the biggest misconception that you're seeing both from students and from teachers about where this industry is headed? Curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Where the software engineering industry is headed,
Yes.
um, I think that uh, people will be doing broader work than they're doing right now.
Mm,
So your junior engineer or your mid-career engineer who's used to doing like one or two or three things are going to be doing six, seven, eight things because of having AI as a tool. Um, I believe that there will be less individual contributors
mm,
and more managers, but not managers of people, managers of AI. And so
mm.
that's why we have that managing AI domain. Um, Lastly, I believe that um, people will be tempted, and many will take the easy way out. And some of them will get caught, like lawyers who use ChatGPT, and it's exposed in court. There's lots of stories like that. Um, uh, and and when people do that, it will expose, well, when it comes to education and people cheat, it will expose not just like their own integrity, but also it will expose the integrity of the system or the value of the system. Like, why are kids being assigned to do this anyway? That this thing that they don't value, they don't feel is relevant, they're not interested in. Can we do better so that they don't want to cheat, right? Like when we all read a book that we don't like, we skim through it real fast, right? But when you like it, you're reading every single word. You love it. Like,
Mhm.
can we do more of that for kids where they won't want to cheat with AI? That's kind of what we're dealing with in education these days, and a lot of people are going one of two ways. A lot of people are rethinking what we teach and why we teach. Other people are just doubling down and just trying to catch kids and stop them from cheating.
And obviously, you think the first way that rethinking everything is the right way, right? Is the way to go.
Yes, ultimately, I think using AI as a moment to rethink like why we're doing what we're doing is positive, especially in education. Uh, Certainly in the way that we evaluate people in the workforce as well, which typically is like college degrees or this certificate or that certificate, but ultimately we care about what people can actually do, not just what they can show in a course.
Right, right. Okay, this is very enlightening for me. I see like more people having like a portfolio, right? Like here's a
Oh yeah.
portfolio of all the things that I've done, and I guess that's gonna be the new resume, right? Instead of showing credentials, it's more like here's what I've built so far. Here's this app that I built. Here's this project that I completed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to wrap up soon. I know you have to get going very soon, but my last question for you would be if you had to advise someone who's 18 years old today, 17, 18, 19, about building a 30-year career, right? A technology career or a career that involves technology, right? Because every industry is going to have technology. Like tech is going to be inherent in almost every industry. What will you tell them to focus on that goes beyond just like learn to code, right? Like that was, I think that
Oh,
has to die a little bit. Like, what would you advise them now?
yeah, yeah. So actually, what you just said, learn to code has to die a little bit. And you know what? I work for an organization called code.org, and we even think your traditional learn to code experience has to change. You could say it has to die a little bit. Like certain aspects should be de-emphasized, but certain aspects should be re-emphasized and emphasized even more, right? So it should definitely change. I definitely agree with that. What would I advise a kid to do? Well, let's think about two things. So if I was answering the same question 25 years ago at the dawn of the internet, 25 years ago? No, 35 years ago, something like that. I would have said, um, this internet thing is going to allow you to communicate with the entire world. You need to work on your communication skills, uh, your interpersonal skills, your talking to people skills, everything. And that's going to get you much farther than it has in the past, where communication was more like one on one. And think about all the social media influencers and their ability to present and market themselves and all that. And a lot of them built that up like informally, not in some type of formal school. So a kid who builds it up in a more formal experience or early on in their career is going to have an advantage. So I would say, hey, look, everyone's going to be using AI in the future for various things. It's going to be like this assistant for everyone. And so there are certain things that aren't going to matter as much. Back in the day, everyone reading the encyclopedia and memorizing stuff, that was like a big deal. But then you had the internet, you didn't need that stuff anymore. Uh, so, kid, I want you to imagine everyone having AI, everyone using AI all the time, and now I want you to think, so what's the value of being a human now? Like, what are things that AI is not good at, that AI will never be able to do? And I want you to focus on those things. Let's just start with that, kid. And then the second thing I would say is, and then obviously, to, to be on par with everyone else, you need to learn how to use AI and understand how it works. So that's why Sorry Bell, I'm like a STEM person, right? Science, technology, engineering, math. I tell you, there will be a lot more focus on like the humanities and different things like that moving forward, and I certainly welcome it.
The humanities and the social sciences too,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
AI is going to have so many effects on society.
Yep.
I think there's going to be just so much to study there, how it's
Yeah.
changed everything for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Humanities and social sciences. Yep. Oh, we already know that there's a huge need for therapists. Yeah, huge need for therapists in in the workforce.
But let me just push back then,
Hmm.
right? Like to wrap up, right?
Hmm.
There's a huge need, but also there's headlines out there that say AI is going to replace everyone, including doctors and therapists. AI can be your therapist now. So, people are getting mixed messages, right?
It depends on the therapy. If it's just some light stuff that you need help with real quick and it doesn't involve any kind of touchy subject like suicide or like depression or things like that, then sure, use an AI, get a second opinion. It's more like just like a thought partner in that case. But I mean, no, like for no one wants to rely on an AI for like the most serious kind of issues. At least they shouldn't. Um, so no, I think there will definitely be there's already like stats showed like the lack of therapists and opportunities for therapy right now. And yes, people are creating like AI things. Honestly, the biggest platforms right now aren't using AI for therapy. They're connecting humans with other humans, and and I think that's a great thing.
I agree. I agree. Well, I know we're at time, Pat, and I know you have to go. So I really want to thank you for your time and for sharing with us, your insights. You have some secret intelligence due to your job at code.org. So I'm really, 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 really just happy to have had you here. And I'll make sure to link the framework, the literacy framework that you mentioned, and put it on my post so that some people can, take the survey, contribute to it. Um, Thank you, Pat. I really appreciate you, and thank you.
Thanks, Sorbel. Bye.
Bye, everyone.